Rio de Janeiro wakes up with a rhythmic energy. Long before the sun reaches its peak, the streets are already alive. An older man pulls up the heavy metal door of his corner bakery, greeting the morning air with the warm, comforting scent of freshly baked bread. Down the street, a vendor expertly crushes sugarcane, handing a bright green cup to a passerby. Two neighbors pause on the uneven sidewalk, embracing warmly as if they haven't seen each other in years. A group of kids kick a scuffed football across the cobblestones. Nearby, a woman sweeps her front porch, quietly singing along to a samba tune playing from a small, battered radio. There are no elaborate costumes here. There are no massive parades, no towering floats, no roaring stadiums. It is simply an ordinary morning. Around the world, Brazil is almost universally famous for its explosive celebrations. It is known for the dazzling spectacle of Carnival, the unmatched passion of football, and the infectious rhythm of Samba. But those grand events are only the visible expressions. Brazil does not wait for a holiday to enjoy existence. Celebration isn't something Brazilians perform once a year. It's something they practice every ordinary day. To truly understand Brazil, we first have to understand where that joy comes from. When we think of celebration, we usually picture a rare and special event, a marked date on a calendar, an escape from the routine of normal life. But to understand Brazil, we must look at celebration differently. Here, joy is not an escape from reality. It is the very foundation of how reality is experienced. This profound embrace of life is deeply rooted in the nation's history. Brazil is an incredibly vast tapestry, woven together from indigenous roots, Portuguese influence, and a rich, enduring African heritage. Out of this complex, often turbulent merging of cultures, a unique social fabric was born. It is a culture that inherently understands the power of rhythm, movement, and human connection. Coupled with a warm, tropical climate that stretches across much of the country, life naturally pushed outward. Homes in Brazil were rarely designed to be isolated fortresses. The physical environment itself invites connection. The line between private and public space blurs, and life spills out onto the front porches, into the bustling public squares, onto the endless stretches of sand, and down the winding streets of the neighborhoods. Because life happens outdoors, it happens together. You are constantly surrounded by the sounds, sights, and energy of other people. Brazilians do not celebrate simply because they are always happy or because life is always easy. In fact, it is often the exact opposite. Historically and presently, Brazilians have faced immense social, political, and economic hardships. But in Brazil, joy is a profound form of resilience. It is a collective survival mechanism. Coming together to share a simple meal, to sing a familiar song, or to dance in the street is a way of claiming happiness in the face of difficulty. It is a defiant statement that hardship will not dictate their spirit. It is a way of saying that no matter the circumstances, life is a gift meant to be shared. Through centuries of shared triumphs and struggles, this vibrant, communal energy became embedded in the national DNA. The act of gathering, of connecting, of finding the bright side of the moment didn't just happen on festival days. Celebration became a daily culture. It wasn't an event. It became a habit. To truly understand this habit of celebration, we must step away from the glittering parade floats, leave the tourist brochures behind, and follow the vibrant, undeniable rhythm of an ordinary Brazilian day. It begins in the morning, inside a lively, brightly lit neighborhood padaria, the local bakery. Ordering a strong, sweet coffee and a warm, golden cheese bread is never a quiet, solitary transaction. The bakery is the energetic heart of the morning. People do not just nod politely at their acquaintances. They greet each other with genuine, unfiltered warmth. Handshakes are firm and linger. Friends exchange tight, genuine embraces and kisses on the cheek. Contagious laughter easily cuts through the clatter of cups and plates. There is a deeply ingrained cultural belief that acknowledging another human being should be done with your full presence and absolute warmth. As the sun climbs to its highest point, the rhythm deliberately shifts to the midday meal. In the middle of a busy, demanding workday, lunch is rarely a sad, rushed sandwich eaten alone in front of a glowing computer screen. Instead, colleagues, friends, and families gather around large wooden tables at bustling local restaurants. Perhaps they are sharing a massive, rich, slow-cooked feijoada, passing heavy plates of black beans, rice, and toasted farofa across the table. The meal is hearty and deeply satisfying, but the conversation is even richer. Voices overlap in a chaotic, beautiful symphony of opinions and stories. People linger at the table long after the food is gone, refusing to let the relentless pressure of the clock steal the joy of their gathering. As afternoon descends and the heavy heat begins to break, the true communal heart of Brazil reveals itself. The beach is not a luxury destination. It is the ultimate democratic space. Sand shifts beneath the feet of teenagers playing an intense game of foot volley, while elderly couples sit in folding chairs, chatting endlessly with passing vendors. But even far from the coast, the exact same spirit fills the inland streets. You hear the rhythmic, hypnotic clap and chant of a capoeira circle forming on a concrete basketball court. Neighbors pull simple plastic chairs out onto the sidewalk to catch the evening breeze, turning the public street into a sprawling, shared front porch. Then comes the evening. The air cools, but the energy of the neighborhood only grows warmer. In a small, warmly illuminated plaza, someone fires up a churrasco grill. The unmistakable, mouth-watering scent of roasting meat fills the air. It doesn't take long before an acoustic guitar is brought out from a nearby house, followed by a tambourine. A spontaneous Roda de Samba begins. There are no elevated stages, no expensive tickets, and no VIP sections. Grandparents, teenagers, and complete strangers gather around the musicians, singing lyrics they have known since childhood. People tap their hands on tables, keeping the beat, swaying to the music. You don't need to wait for the grand spectacle of Carnival to experience this. You only need to walk down an ordinary street on a Tuesday night. Through this daily rhythm, a profound message reveals itself. Celebration isn't a rare event. It is simply how Brazilians experience everyday life. Yet, as we observe this beautiful, vibrant way of life, an inevitable question arises. Can this deeply rooted joy survive the heavy, isolating pressures of the modern world? Brazil today faces immense and incredibly complex challenges. Historic inequality, the steadily rising cost of living, and the rapid, overwhelming pace of sprawling urbanization place heavy burdens on the shoulders of everyday people. Modern economic pressures, exhausting daily commutes, and the endless, distracting demands of digital life threaten to pull tight-knit communities apart, confining people to small apartments and glowing smartphone screens. When the weight of daily survival feels overwhelming, does the famous Brazilian joy begin to fade into a tired silence? The modern hardships are undeniable, but if you look closely at the neighborhoods today, you will see a fierce, beautiful, and deeply moving resistance. Brazilians absolutely refuse to surrender their spirit. Despite the economic pressures, they still pull their plastic chairs onto the sidewalk to talk into the night. They still actively organize vibrant, grassroots neighborhood festivals, entirely independent of the massive tourist events. They still clear uneven spaces in crowded urban neighborhoods just to play football until it is too dark to see. Families still prioritize gathering on Sundays to eat together, sharing whatever they have. And local community leaders still patiently teach the complex, ancestral rhythms of samba and the powerful, acrobatic sweeps of capoeira to the next generation. Joy in Brazil does not disappear when times are tough. It simply adapts. It remains the vital glue that holds the community together. Instead of letting modernity and hardship steal their joy, Brazilians use their deeply ingrained culture of connection to push back against the weight of the world. They continue creating reasons to celebrate. The sun finally sets over Rio de Janeiro. Our bakery owner steps outside, reaching up to pull the heavy metal grate down over his doors, turning the key just as he did at dawn. His long workday comes to an end, but down the warmly lit street, the echoes of rhythmic music, bright laughter, and joyful conversation continue into the tropical night. Perhaps that is exactly why Brazil feels so fundamentally different. Its greatest tradition is not the glittering spectacle of Carnival. It is not the roaring stadiums of football. It is the remarkable, unwavering ability to celebrate ordinary life. Celebration doesn't begin when the music starts. It begins the moment people choose to share life with one another. Every single day,